Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mike's DVDs and Blu-rays collection. I'm your host, Mike. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, because today I've got a really interesting episode. Thinking back at some articles I've read over the years, actually. I think I first read the article that this episode is based on a few years ago. And I recently saw it again pop up like in news feed on Google or something like that. It's about Quentin Tarantino, and he was asked, what are your top 10 favorite movies of all time? And being the movie fan that he is, he's just an encyclopedia of movie history. He couldn't just do 10. He wanted to do 11. So this is going to be the 11 favorite movies of Quentin Tarantino that, basically movies that he has influenced him and stuff over the years. And you can really see in these movies that he's took little pieces from all these movies. I mean, if you're a fan of Tarantino and you're familiar with these movies, you'll see the connections. But a little bit about Tarantino, he's the director of such hits as Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill, the Hateful Eight, Kill Bill, and Jackie Brown, and Django Unchained. All his big movies. He's one of my favorite directors. I'm 45. I would say he is the Martin Scorsese of my generation of film directors. That. Don't take that the wrong way. That to some people that might be an insult, but I don't think it is, because I'm a huge fan of Martin Scorsese. I'm a huge fan of Tarantino. So a little bit about Tarantino. He grew up watching movies at the drive-in and the grindhouses with his mom. He grew up with a single parent, and then his stepdad influenced him, in black exploitation movies and some grindhouse type movies. And then eventually, he would move out to California, where he would work in a video store for many years while writing scripts and just being the one go-to man to ask for a recommendation or just a short opinion on a movie. He was the man at the video store, so he is a one-man encyclopedia. Love him or hate him, Tarantino is one of the most interesting directors we have. Every time he puts out a movie, there's always interest. There's always something really good in his movies. His recent movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, is just a great movie. It's a great movie. And he recently put out a paperback novel of the story Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that's expanded on the story and stuff. So that's something you may want to check out. But today we're going to talk about the top 11 movies that has influenced Quentin Tarantino. So let's get right to it. This is a movie from 1975. This is his number 11 pick. I'm going to go from the bottom to the top, one being the top and the best, his favorite. So let's go with the number 11 pick, 1975's Jaws, Steven Spielberg's classic movie. One of the best known movies that Spielberg's known for. It's one of the most rewatchable movies out there. Quotable, influenced so many, animal attack type video movies. Piranha, all the many water-based movies. It's influenced all of them. 1975's Jaws. This was a big influence on him. With character development and everything. So there you go, 1975's Jaws. So next up, a little bit about number 10. This is the director of this movie actually fled Europe in 1933. He was a celebrated playwright and writer of movies in Germany. When he came over to Hollywood after the Nazi occupation of Europe or Germany after all that, happened. He came over to Hollywood. He started working for Paramount and doing scripts, working with Lubitsch, Ernest Lubitsch on a few movies and everything. And 1942, he would do his first movie, The Major and the Minor. It's a great first movie with Ray Milland and Ginger Rogers. But his second movie would be Quentin Tarantino's number 10 pick, 1943's Five Graves to Cairo, director Billy Wilder. And if you're a fan of Billy Wilder, you should know that he writes some great stories. He got a real knack for character development. And this is one of Billy Wilder's lesser known movies, I would say. I first saw this movie probably when I was about 16. It was on AMC channel. I had a VHS copy of it, and I watched it over the years because I don't believe it was available for a while. And it's just recently surfaced on Blu-ray. But it basically takes place in North Africa during the time when the Nazis are, blasting through Africa. Rommel, the tank commander, rolls into this town. The city's pretty bombed out, and there's a little hotel. Franchot Tone, Ann Baxter are kind of there. Ann Baxter runs the hotel with Akim Temiroff, and the general is played by Erich von Stroheim, and it's a great story of wits and covering up and suspenseful movie. Great movie. Five Graves to Cairo. This is the Kino Blu-ray, and I highly recommend you see this. Next up, number 9 is a movie by a celebrated director of many comedies, Preston Sturges. This is a movie he made at 20th Century Fox in 1948, and this was really dark humored. It's definitely a black comedy, and it was a kind of a sleeper hit. A lot of people didn't want him to make it. They wanted him to do the comedies that he was known for, Palm Beach Story, Hell the Conquering Hero, Palm Beach Story, Sullivan's Travels. Preston Sturges, one of my favorite directors. And he worked at Paramount doing all those hit movies. And then by 1948, he had moved to 20th Century Fox, where he makes Unfaithfully Yours. It's a dark humored story of a let me get the actors first. I'm kind of off here for a second. It stars Rex Harrison and Linda Darnell, Rudy Valley, and Barbara Lawrence. Rex Harrison is a musician. He's a conductor of a symphony orchestra, and he suspects his wife of infidelity. So during these 3 big musical songs, the camera goes in, the music starts, he starts up a song, and during that whole musical piece, he's thinking in his head while he's conducting the orchestra how he's going to kill his wife. So this happens 3 times. There's 3 ways he's going to kill his wife, because he suspects her of cheating on him, infidelity, and it's very, very dark humored. It's definitely a classic black comedy, and it's very good, very well paced, one of the, again, another lesser known classic by a huge director. Preston Sturges is just legendary, and so there you go, 1948's Unfaithfully Yours. So number 8, we're up to number 8 now. Now this director of this movie actually shows up twice on this list. So this would be 1976's. It was a pretty big hit. It's Brian De Palma's Carrie. Big influence of, you see the Hitchcock all over this movie. Classic movie. It's a movie that a cinema nut will love, and also just a regular horror fan will love. You know, it's a great movie, well made, very tense, very shocking. Really great. I'm trying to think if did Bernard Herrmann do the music on this? Sorry guys, I should know this. Can't remember. Well, I guess let me know in the comments. Did Bernard Herrmann do the music on this, or did he? So anyways, Carrie is number 8. Okay guys, number 6. This is a really cool movie. This movie will go back to 1929. 1929. It's a silent movie by the great G.W. Pabst. He's definitely a director you should check out and stuff. He's made so many good silent movies. He's actually a German director, and this movie was made in 1929. And it stars American actress, what's her name? Louise Brooks. The movie I'm talking about is Pandoras Box. This is the out-of-print Criterion DVD edition of Pandoras Box. This movie it's crazy how much it's. I don't believe it's on Blu-ray. I don't believe this movie was hard to find when I finally tracked it down and stuff, and I was waiting forever to find this movie because it costs so much. But yeah, it's a deluxe edition. It's got a book. It's got this real thick booklet. It's got the movie Pandora's Box. A little bit about this movie. I just want to tell you a few things about it because it's such a great movie, and you should really check it out. One really cool thing on here on the extras is it's got a documentary about the actress Louise Brooks. It's called Looking for Lulu from I think it says here 98. I guess I thought it came out in 88. And it's also got Lulu in Berlin, an 1984 rare 48-minute interview with her. But a very dark movie. Very just, oh man, it's so well directed. It's basically kind of a new telling of the Jack the Ripper story, but set place in Germany during the 1920s. And I mean, Louise Brooks is just so alluring. I mean, she's just so beautiful and mysterious, and it's a phenomenal movie. I mean, if you just look at the photo, I mean, it just tells you so much. I mean, this movie's so good. You really got to check this movie out, Pandora's Box. And if you can find this Criterion edition, I really recommend that. So what are we up to now, guys? 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. We're up to number 6, I believe. Yep, we're up to number 6. Now, this movie is a movie directed by, this is from the Shaw Brothers studio. This is directed by, who is this directed by? Chang Chang-ho. Chang Chang-ho directed this. This is a movie. It's also known as King Boxer, and it's also known as Five Fingers of Death. And it's phenomenal. It's one of my favorite Asian kung fu movies. Love the Shaw Brothers studio. Big influence on Kill Bill. I won't go into it. I want you to check this movie out, and you'll see see some of the stuff he took from it. But Five Fingers of Death, aka King Boxer, such a great movie. I mean, just sensational movie all the way through. It stars Lule, Wang Ping, and Wang Ping. Yeah, so there you go. It's got a commentary here by actually he's doing the commentary. Tarantino and Elvis Mitchell does the commentary on here. But yeah, it's got an interview with director Chang Ha-jeong. Sorry, I'm tearing that up, guys. It's a great movie. Believe me, it's a great movie. The Five Fingers of Death. I mean, it's such an influential kung fu movie. It really is. So there you go. So now we're up to number 5. Now this movie, super influential movie just throughout the 1940s. It really turned the 1940s on its head. You can see kind of an influence in the film noir slightly. But as far as it's a big success for female actresses during this time, because it stars Rosalind Russell and Cary Grant, and she was put in the role that was formerly a guy's role from the previous 1931 version of this story. The movie I'm talking about is 1940s. Howard Hawks directed His Girl Friday, and the 1931 version, it's I'm having a brain fart. The front page was the 1931 version, which starred two guys, and they worked for opposing newspapers. They were once writing partners on the same newspaper, and they're both covering the execution of this suspected innocent man, and it's just mile a minute dialogue. Just the writing of this movie is just amazing. It's just an amazing movie. Great. This is a great addition from Criterion. This is a Criterion Blu-ray. It also has a restored copy of the 1931 version of the front page movie that this is based on. And this has been restored, 4K restoration. His Girl Friday. Howard Hawks would turn out to be one of Tarantino's biggest influences. And he also shows up twice on this list. So there you go, number 5, His Girl Friday. Now number 4, there's been some comparison to just the output and just the well-made movies, the comparisons to Scorsese, what he did in the 70s when he broke out in the 1970s, to Tarantino in the 90s. So number 4, one of my personal favorite movies. When I first saw this as a teenager, it really just blew me away. Bernard Herrmann's score, I believe it was his last score. It was a little confusion with Carrie. Both of them came out in 1976. And the movie I'm talking about is Taxi Driver. This was Martin Scorsese's 1976 classic starring Robert De Niro. What can I say? I mean, this movie is phenomenal. This is the 2011 Blu-ray edition, which is really cool. It's like a digibook, and opens up and everything. It's really nice. They've come out with this a few times since then. I had a DVD copy, and then I had like a kind of a regular Blu-ray, and then they came out with this deluxe version. So I got rid of all my other Taxi Drivers for this one thing, and then I think the next year they came out with another big deluxe edition of Taxi Driver. Plus it's been out a couple more times, but I really enjoy this 2011 edition of the movie. But man, Taxi Driver is such a just phenomenal movie. It's, you know, Robert De Niro is Travis Bickle. What can you say? You can see the influence on Tarantino, obviously. So there you go, Taxi Driver. And I also have that on Laserdisc. I have 2 different Criterion editions on Laserdisc of Taxi Driver, but I just included that. So next up, we're down to number 3. This is the second appearance by this director on this. This is 1981's Blowout by Brian De Palma. One of his favorite movies, Tarantino's favorite movies. I mean, it stars John Travolta, Nancy Allen. You would see that, later on he would use Travolta in Pulp Fiction. He basically gave Travolta his second win, gave him a chance when he really wasn't getting any good parts. I mean, he went from Look Who's Talking to Pulp Fiction. I mean, he really looked deep into this actor and knew that he could, knew how good of an actor John Travolta was. And if there's any doubt to it, just watch this movie. He plays a sound recordist, kind of a sound designer in a way, working for a movie, like a cheap movie company. He's out one day and he's recording some sounds. He needs like little background sounds of like birds chirping and wind blowing and stuff like that. And he accidentally records a wreck of a car with a prominent political figure in the car. He basically jumps in and saves the girl that was in there. And it's basically a big cover-up. I don't want to give everything away about it in case you've never seen it, but Blowout is a just great movie. So there you go, Blowout. So now we're down to number 2, guys. Y'all may suspect this. This is definitely one of Tarantino's favorite movies. This is the movie that he coined the phrase a hangout movie. Hangout movie is a movie where all the characters are basically hanging out and talking and exchanging dialogue and stuff. You see them a bunch of times just hanging out. The movie I'm talking about is also second appearance by this director. This would be Howard Hawks' 1959 Western classic, Rio Bravo. This movie stars John Wayne, Dean Martin, and Ricky Nelson. And it's got a great supporting role by Walter Brennan in this, and such a classic movie. Great. I love this movie. I've watched this so many times. Such a great movie. If you haven't seen Rio Bravo by now, you need to see it. This is Tarantino's number 2 favorite movie. So now we're down to the number 1 favorite movie by Quentin Tarantino, according to this list that he was interviewed some years ago, and he gave this list out. So the number 1 movie, Quentin Tarantino. I don't know if this is his favorite movie of all time, but this is 1966's Sergio Leone's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. This is the 4K Kino edition that came out recently, and I highly recommend this edition if you're a fan of this movie or want to see it for the first time. This is the definitive edition on Blu-ray. Check this movie out. What can I say? It revolutionized spaghetti westerns. It gave spaghetti westerns some authority, some clout. There were so many imitators of this movie and this trilogy, the Man with No Name trilogy, that stars Clint Eastwood, and this would be the 3rd installment in that trilogy, starring Clint Eastwood, Lee. God, I'm having a complete brain fart. How can I even think of this? Lee Van Cleef, and of course Eli Wallach. Of course, they would all go on to make other spaghetti westerns, while Clint Eastwood would become a phenomenally big star in Hollywood after this, and to where he's still making movies today at 91 years old. So there you go, guys. Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino's favorite number 1 movie on his list, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So there you go, guys, and kids and ladies of all sizes, shorts, sizes, and everybody out there, kids, dogs, pets. There you go. The top 11 Quentin Tarantino favorite movies, according to him. Hope you enjoyed this episode. if that's not a list to go out and write down and check off and check these movies out, I don't know what to say. These are basically the movies that I love. I mean, he is a man of my own heart. He's a fan of the same stuff. I mean, he didn't have any black exploitation in this. He had only 2 westerns. And I don't think he's a fan of musicals. I mean, there was some genres in here that was left out. He didn't have any like real hardcore film noir in here. But overall, that's a list of lists. It really is a good list. I mean, I respect that. I really respect that about him. I mean, that's what I love. That's kind of what I present on this show, are movies in line with these. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified when I release a new episode. And also comment. Please comment. Let me know if you guys agree with any of these. Maybe there's some stuff, that maybe should have been included on that. If you're a fan of Tarantino and you kind of, maybe he should have put this movie instead of that movie. Did you agree with Brian De Palma and Howard Hawks, figuring in this? Was Taxi Driver the best Scorsese he could have put on here? So I don't know. Let me know in the comments. And that about wraps this episode up. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, guys, I am Mike. I need a drink of water. Be safe out there. Check these movies out, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.